All right, guys, this is the review for Quiz 3 in Module 2. Make sure you have a piece of paper out so you can write down your work. All right, number 1, estimate this by clustering. Go. Well, clustering means we're going to group together any numbers that work nicely. Now, first we're going to do is add all the whole numbers. So we've got 15, 12, 6, and 3. We're not worried about any of the decimals at this point. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So we'll do 15 plus 12 plus 9. That's 11, 16, carry the 1. We've got 36. Then let's look at the decimal parts. 0.4 and 0.6 are 1. So that'll make one more over here. So we're at 37. These two are both small. We're just going to ignore those. So 37.0 would be our estimate by clustering or grouping them together. All right, number 2. You are shopping and want to make sure that you have enough money with you. You are going to overestimate this. Go. Well, overestimating means we're going to round every one of these up to the next dollar. So this will be $16 plus this will be $9 and this will be $25. So when I add that, 25 plus 16 plus 9, that's 11, and 9 is 20. So $50 is going to be our overestimate. So we make sure we have enough money. Okay, round to the nearest tenth. Go. Well, this is the tenths. So I look one to the right. That 4 means that's going to stay the same. Remember, 5 or above, you give it a shove. If it's 4 or below, you let it go. So this would round to 14 7/10, 14.7. Okay, round this to the nearest tenths. Go. Again, here's the tenths. Look one to the right, that is a 7. That's going to round up to 25.3. 5 or above, you give it a shove. And C, round to the nearest tenths. Go. Now, this one's a little more tricky. So that 7 is going to make that 9 round up to a 10, which is going to bump over here. So this will be 88.0. Now, I'm going to tell you it is super important that you have the 0.0 there. If you are rounding to the tenths, there has to be a number in the tenths, even if it's a 0. Okay, now round to the nearest hundredth. Go. Well, same thing. Now we're rounding to the hundredth. That's the second decimal place. That 8 makes that round up. So this will be 45 and 28 hundredths. Round to the nearest hundredth. Go. Here's our hundredths. Notice I always identify the place. Look one to the right. That stays the same. So it would be 6.16, because that stays the same. Round to the nearest hundredths. Go. Well, here's our hundredths. Look one to the right. So that 7's going to make that 9 round up to a 10. That's going to make that 90. So 13.90. And again, you need to have that 0 there because I need to have something in the hundredth spot. Okay, multiply. Go. Now, when you are multiplying decimals, ignore the decimal places. So this is just 12 times 4. So 12 times 4 is 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. It's 48. Probably knew that mentally anyway. Then we count our decimal places. 1, 2, 3. So we start here. 1, 2. I need a third, so I will put 0 there. So when you're multiplying decimals, you ignore the decimal places, multiply the numbers, then count the number of decimal places and add that to your answer. Okay, try B. Go. All right, so ignore the decimal places. This will be 112 times 25. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. So I put a 0 here, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. Now we need to multiply through by 2, so I need to put a 0 as a placeholder here. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Now when I add these, 0, so we add. That's 10. Carry the 1. That's 8. And this is 2. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer is 0.28. Now, you do not need to write these 2 zeros because they don't mean anything in this problem. Okay. You're going to compare these two numbers. Put a less than, a greater than, or an equal to on the line. Go. All right. When you are comparing decimals, first thing you do is compare the whole numbers. These are both zeros, so that doesn't help us. Then you look at the tenths place. 2 is greater than 0. So what goes on that line? Sorry, my computer's greater than. Oh, Lord. Okay, greater than goes on that line, and the big side opens towards the big number. That's how I remember this. This is a less than, this is a greater than. Okay, compare these two. Go. Well, again, look at the whole numbers. They are both 17. That doesn't help us. Then we look at the tenths place. They are both 9s. That does not help us. Now, in the hundredth place, this one is a 0. 0 is less than 1. So, less than symbol. Okay, compare C. Go. All right, remember, always start with the whole numbers. 15 is greater than 14, so I don't even have to go any further. Greater than. Okay, list these numbers in order from least to greatest. Go. Well, again, when we're ordering, always look at the whole number. 4, 4, 4, 4. So the 4s don't help us at all. Then we look at the tenths. We have a 2, a 0, and a 1. So the 2 zeros are the smallest. Now we need to look at the hundredths of those two. 0 and 2. So this is the smallest. So 4, that's a 4. Comma. Okay, I'm going to cross that out because that's the smallest. Then this one also has a 0 in the tenths place. That's the next smallest. Cross that out. Now, 4.2, 4.1. 4.1 is smaller. So 4.175, and then the largest is 4.23. So when you're ordering or comparing numbers, you always compare the whole numbers first. That's the easy part. And then start at the tenths. If that doesn't help, go to the hundredth, etc., and so on. All right, let me know if you need any help on any of these concepts before you take your quiz.